Hello friends and welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm really glad you're here. If you're new here, my name is Becca and this channel is all about my love for knitting, spinning, weaving, sewing, crocheting, all the fiber things. If you're enjoying this fiber adventure, please consider leaving a like or a comment or subscribing to my channel. I invite you to grab whatever project you have on the go and join me. Let's make some stuff. Today I want to share with you some sewing projects that have been occupying my time and all my brain power. But first I want to give you an update on some of the works in progress that I've shared with you over the last several videos. The first is my one ring scarf. I have it rolled up here, as you can see, to protect this delicate yarn. This is a double knitting project. And I'm knitting it in this single ply silk and wool yarn from the Farmer's Daughter. I'm knitting it on tiny US size 1, that's 2.25 millimeter needles, so it's taking a while, but I am happy to report that I am halfway done. I thought that this was going to be my winter project. And I didn't get it done in a single season, so, but it is still coming along and I am still working on it, so should have it done by next fall, winter when it gets cold again. So coming along, my one ring scarf. And as always, I'll put all the links to the materials that I use and the patterns that I tell you about in the description. So if you're interested in knitting along with me, go check it out. The second knitted works in progress that I have is my Ragna sweater. And I shared the long and winding story of this sweater in my previous video, so if you're interested in that, you can go check that out. But I have finished the back panel. This is an all-over cabled panel, an all-over cabled sweater. This is another sweater from Elsebeth Lavold's book, Viking Patterns for Knitting. But it is an oversized sweater, so this has got quite a bit of stretch to it, and when I block it, it will be nice and large. It's a medieval inspired pattern, so it has these separate panels at the bottom, which are sort of like dags that you might see on some of the clothing of medieval Europe. So now it's onto the front and the sleeves and coming along nicely. So I'm knitting this in Knit Picks City Tweed, which is a wool and alpaca blend. And then I have a couple of spinning works in progress. The first one has been in my travel bag for about the last year, and since I haven't done a lot of traveling, it hasn't gotten a lot of progress. But this is a Viola, I think is how it's pronounced, Viola organic merino from Arbon Textiles. This is, the color is called Black Currant, and I'm spinning this on my Snyder Turkish spindle, tiny Turkish spindle that I got from the Woolery. This one is in zebra wood, and they do have this available in a few different kinds of wood, so if you are interested in that, I'll put that link in the description. But spinning this recently, I like to spin with my spindles in public. I recently went to Ply-Away Yarn Festival, Spinning Festival in Kansas City, and I took my my spindle along with me, and I was spinning while I was walking around looking at yarn and earrings. And I usually get a few comments when I'm out spinning and walking around. Definitely a lot of looks. But yeah, I enjoy spinning on my spindle, walking around, looking at yarn and doing things that don't really require a lot of heavy thinking while I'm spinning. So that's my first spinning project. I really enjoy I'm spinning it in singles on the spindle and then plying it as a 2-ply, and I really like how the yarn is turning out. And so the more I spin with this, the more excited I am about the yarn and getting to the point where I can make something with it. So this project might come out of the travel bag and into more regular rotation. And my second spinning work in progress is some South American wool that was dyed by my good friend Charlie of Serenity Dyeworks. This is their line Spaced Out, and I had 3 braids, 3 of these 4-ounce braids. I've spun 2 of them, and I'm spinning them on one of my antique wheels that I haven't shown you yet, but I will have to show you in another video because I have other things to tell you about today. But anyway, we have 2 skeins from the 2 separate braids, and I just love the colors of how this sort of heathery shades of purple and light yellow and cream are coming together. The 2 didn't pool the colors in quite the same way, but I think it's still going to look beautiful together. And so 1 more braid to go, and then this spinning project will be done. And the reason that I'm going to tell you about my spinning wheel in another video is because today I want to talk to you about sewing. And I learned how to sew when I was a child. You can see my mother's sewing machine behind me. This is the machine that I sew on. It's from the 1970s. It's an Elna basic machine. It does have zigzag and various other decorative stitches, but no computer. It's pretty much forward, backwards, straight stitch, zigzag stitch, unless you get some other fancy parts to it. But I basically use just that, and it works great. So I learned how to sew when I was a child, but I didn't really make any garments or anything until I went off to college, and that was when I made a bunch of tops and various other things, but I made my very first pair of pants. And here they are. They are quite old, but they are a linen drawstring. Show you the front. Not that it matters. They're about the same from the front and the back. But they're drawstring pants, very large, so nice and loose and comfortable. And I wore them. I wore them a lot. They had a matching jacket that went with them. But I wasn't really that good at sewing, and especially on finishing. So all the seams on the inside are just raw and frayed linen. But they do have pockets. And that was my first pair of pants that I ever made. And so I made the few more garments, but then just sort of put the sewing machine away and didn't really make any more garments for myself for quite a long time. But a few years ago, I decided I wanted to pick up sewing again. And so I learned how to sew by hand, which I actually prefer to machine sewing. I made myself a coat, which again will be another video, a story for another time. Because today is all about pants, as you can clearly see from the stack of pants behind me. So I made a coat, I made some shirts. I knew that I was capable of making these drawstring pants, so I made some drawstring pants. I made some pajama pants, flannel pajama pants for myself and for my husband. So again, these are basic, large, drawstring, pockets, pants. And I made them in a variety of fun flannel print. Dinosaurs and hedgehogs and loud plaid. Because they're just for lounge pants, wearing around the house, pajamas. And drawstring pants are easy because there's really no fitting that you have to worry about other than the length. You just make them into a huge bag, essentially, and put a drawstring in the top and cinch them up until they're comfortable. But I really was interested in making trousers for myself, fitted pants, but I was really intimidated by that. And recently, it became clear to me that I needed new trousers for work because the ones that I had been wearing for, I don't know how many years, were really not acceptable anymore. They were way too big. They were worn out. They were getting holes in them and fraying at the edges. And so the first thing that I did was to go shopping. I hate shopping for clothes. I went to a store that I had used to buy pants from that fit me pretty well. But this time, apparently the fashion is all for high-waisted pants. And I do not have a high waist. High-waisted trousers do not work for me. They're uncomfortable and I don't think they're very attractive. And every single pair of pants in this shop was high-waisted. I think I was in there for an hour, which doesn't seem like very, very long, but I think I tried on probably 25 pairs of pants and none of them fit me. And it was really, I find it soul-crushing to go shopping for clothing. But I had purchased a pattern, actually two, but I had purchased a pattern for pants and some material because I really wanted to try my hand at trousers. And this was the push that I needed to get onto it. So now I'm going to show you those. So I bought two pants patterns from the Brooklyn General Store. I bought them online and had them shipped to me. The Jutland Pants and Lander Pants and Shorts. And the one that I started with was this Jutland Pants. This is actually a men's trousers in a couple of styles. So a basic trousers or jeans and then like a cargo pant style. And I don't have a lot of difference between my waist and my hips, and so I've often over the years gravitated towards men's pants because I feel like they just sort of fit my body shape a little bit nicer. So I wasn't concerned that it was a men's pant. So this was the first one that I tried, and I have actually made two pants. I've made two pairs. I started with this burgundy denim. They are, well, they have a secret contrasting fabric, lighter weight for the pockets and for the inside of the waistband that you can see here because it's flopping all over the place. It has curved pockets with the main fabric as sort of a facing, but then inside is the lighter calico that I used here. They have a lot of really nice features to them. So they have on the back welt pockets, and yes, they have nice deep pockets, which is another thing that's problematic with women's pants. They often have tiny pockets if they have functional pockets at all. Men's pants give you actual pockets. So these are nice deep pockets. Again, the back is the contrasting color. And this was the first time I had made welt pockets. They're a little bit, again, intimidating because you have to, they're made up of several pieces and then you sew them on the outside of your pants and then you cut through it and fold it all to the inside and then stitch it in this special way so that you have this facing that all you can see from the outside is this nice fold of the outside fabric. And you don't see any of the inside. I actually made a potentially disastrous mistake. You can see there's a dart that runs sort of through the pocket. You're supposed to sew that first. And the first pocket that I made, I had forgotten to do that. So I had cut through my fabric and then realized that I needed to do that dart. So I had to take the pocket off, fold the dart, which meant that my cut line was no longer exactly in the right place, but I think it turned out just fine. And they look fine. But that was a little bit stressful. And then they have a standard hidden zipper with a zipper fly with a zipper shield, separate piece sewn on the back. It's not the first time I've put in a zipper, so that was pretty straightforward. But then putting the waistband on was a bit challenging. So it is a separate long piece, actually two, because you've got the facing on the inside. And I had made a mock-up out of some fabric that I had sitting around, and I made them until the point of stitching up the front and the back together, so they were pants, but I didn't bother to put the waistband on. And the mock-up fit pretty good. I made a couple of adjustments at that point, but so when I was trying these on as I went along, they were fitting fine. And then I got the waistband on, and the waistband was just way too big. There was a big gap here at the back, and so I had to do some adjustments. I ended up actually taking in the center back seam and also cutting the waistband in the center to bring that together, and just kind of adjusting as I went along. And I still have a bit of gapping, but it's not bad. And so finished them off. I sewed on a wooden button because I thought that was a nice contrast with this burgundy, and I did a machine stitched buttonhole. And the zipper, actually, I didn't really pay attention to this when I was making it. The zipper goes up into the waistband, and I had to actually cut through the zipper. This is a metal zipper. Wasn't sure I was going to be able to place the buttonhole. Oops. But I did. It worked out fine. And so now I have a nice pair of trousers. I did the hem on the bottom, and then the inside seams are felled. So the inseam is felled by machine, and then the side seams and the crotch seam I did the felling by hand. Was sort of the last step. So that was my first pair of pants. They're actually wearable. I'm so excited. And if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen these. But there's the story of my very first pair of trousers. So right after, this took me, I don't know, I think a couple of weeks for all of the steps to make sure that it was right. The pockets are quite complicated, and it took me a couple of times to put them together to get it to work out right. But the second pair was much quicker. So I made a second pair in sort of this black denim with purple fabric as the contrast. And again, you can't see it from the outside. They have a black and white, sort of black lacy floral over top of a white button. This buttonhole I sewed by hand, and I didn't have to cut through the zipper this time. I made the back, so I made the front the same size, but the back panels, I actually made this one size smaller because there was a little bit roomy in the back side of the first pair. And so that was a lot better. I was still getting some gapping though in the waistband. So I think on the next pair that I do, I might take that in just a little bit more at the center waist, and maybe even the darts on the side, take those in a little bit. But again, we have the welt pockets with the purple on the inside. The front pockets with purple on the inside, and they are nice and deep pockets. So 2 pairs down, I have fabric for 2 more pairs. One is a corduroy in sort of a slate gray color, and then I have this super cute white denim with embroidered bees all over it that I think is going to be a lot of fun. I might do the legs a little bit slimmer on those, but we'll see how that goes. So this has been my foray into pant making. I'm so glad that I tried this. I sort of have had a goal of a completely handmade wardrobe. And I was inspired by Katie Green of the Green Bean podcast to do this. So as I mentioned, I've already made an overcoat. I've made some button-up shirts. I have obviously made a lot of sweaters and socks and other knitted garments. Last year I actually made underpants using just my zigzag stitch. So I have an overlock serger that I don't like using. In fact, I'm going to give it to my sister because I don't ever use it. But the zigzag stitch worked great. I used fold over elastic for those. So my next project is going to be trying to make bras for myself. I have materials and pattern to make 2 bras. That's, again, like the trousers, a bit intimidating. I'm not quite sure why, because nobody's really going to see it but me. But, you know, you never know until you try. So that's going to be my next foray. And then I think I will have an entirely handmade, at least one outfit that I could wear head to toe, all handmade. And that's just really exciting to me. Do I need to do that? No. What's the point? I'm really not sure. But it is a goal that I have to have a completely handmade wardrobe. So that's what I'm doing. The next step, I guess, is just to make my own fabric. I do have a loom. The last thing I want to share with you is what I'm wearing. This is my pie, P-I, my pie shawl. So this is a full circle lace shawl that I made out of some yarn that I bought when I went to Toronto. I like to buy yarn when I go on trips as sort of a keepsake. So this is wool and alpaca in these beautiful colors, pink and red and burgundy. It starts from the center and then is knit round and round in sort of, the increases are done as more of a recipe so that you end up with a circle. So I always wear it sort of folded over and then shift it a little bit so that you can see all the different colors. I just used a variety of different lace patterns that I had in a pattern book just to give it some interest and some variability. But that is my pie shawl. The other thing that I'm wearing is these cute earrings that I bought at Ply-Away from Oink Dyers. They are actually yarn and they're squishy and I just love them. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for spending some of your creative time with me. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!